Welcome you on But Heard Developer channel, where I'm solo developing a large web site for musicians. In this video I'm going to set the minimum standards for working with Git, using Git Hooks, and make some recommendation for work with Git. First, please clarify. Standard makes code better, makes onboarding of new employees easy, analytics easy, review easy, support and development easy. If you're a project manager, replace easy with faster. If you're a product owner, replace with cheaper and high quality. But we got a problem here. Everything written in your README files, Confluence, or recorded no matter where, no one will read it. And if someone read it, they would not follow it, or forget it and demand resources every time when review or refactoring, which usually just negates all standard benefits. Agree, everything that someone wrote or said we will call a recommendation. Everything that can be checked automatically, let's call standard. Of course, we should check standards on the server side before deployment, before review with every comment, and etc. and etc. But let's imagine a normal development process. The developer makes a branch for their tasks, writes some code, makes some commits, code commit, and push. Server starts some pipelines with checks code, and for example, checks code say third and 10th commit have mistakes. So developer cannot match this code, cannot cherry pick some commits, and should not send it to review. And in this step, developer should start editing their commits, what is difficult, long and expensive. Very long and very expensive. But we can prevent this. Using Git Hooks, we can run checks or even auto fix some rules before commit, directly from the developer, locally. So we go to Git Hooks, read the documentation, and make some solutions. When you read Git Hooks documentation, you can understood that Git Hooks is just a set of commands located in specific Git directory. But somehow we should replace these commands to this directory. Git cannot commit itself. Now we can create some shell script, store files in separated directory, and running this script to make mandatory during setup instruction. But after some time, you will notice that some developers skip this step in setup because it's make their life easy. After that, you will think about running copy step script into some required hooks, for example in package managers. Some hooks like post install command in composer.json or prepare in package.json file from frontend. In this situation, nobody will edit it because the chance to make mistakes and push it to repository to review is very high. And now you got all story of developing ready-made packages called Husky.js. And please do not repeat all these steps. Just install Husky. It's just 2 commands and only 4 kilobytes of dependency. For example, I add just echo command to pre-commit hooks, make some test commit, and as you can see, echo result in console. Okay, in this step, you should say, hey man, Dima, I have only one API on the backend. I don't want to see anything related to JavaScript. And I agree with you, I don't want to. But unfortunately, I haven't found correct alternative for Husky, for a composer. Okay, it's easy to reproduce it, we just talk about it. But today I'm going to talk with you about Commitlint and branch name linting. And unfortunately, for the PHP, I cannot find the correct alternative to these packages. So here I given an accept of super priority of JavaScript in this matter and install Husky to Laravel project. After hearing next block, you might think this is channel for beginners, but unfortunately not. I have to talk about it. Okay, if you go to Husky documentations, you can see 4 package managers: npm, yarn, pnpm, and bug. I won't specify which one to use. Personally, I have no experience only with bun. When we talk about package manager advantages, we talk about speed. It is important to understand that speed matter not for your local work, but for deployment. You wouldn't feel the difference in speed locally. I use npm because it have alert about vulnerabilities, but I'm not sure, maybe others package managers do this too. And I just stick to my habits. You can choose whatever you want. But remember, no matter what you choose, logs files should be in a Git. I'm talking about composer log for backend, yarn log, package log, JSON, pnpm log, YAML, bun log, and etc. These files should be in Git. It is obvious, it is written in all instruction, in every documentation, but personally I have seen too often how developers ignore it. Too often. And in too many different teams and projects. So I have to say it. You should know that package manager set dependency to the latest with some constraint in the JSON file. You should see specific symbols like tilde or caret before the package versions. Please read documentation about semantic versions. So logs files contains correct version, the same version that you install on your local machine. And the right deployment process ensures that your local packages and packages on the server are the same. Okay, next problem what I see too often. Please make sure that you have only one package manager in your project. Situation where half of the team use npm and someone reads somewhere that yarn is faster and use yarn. Or some genius developers come to projects and say you guys are stupid, we now use pnpm and do not touch yarn log JSON. Sorry, I know it's stupid situation, but I see this too often. Next, my advice about situations I see always too often, but it is not so stupid and I understand why this happens. Please remember, everything that can pass the code, save to the dev dependency. Test runners, linters, debuggers, static code analyzers, builders, minifiers, everything. Security of your program is your problem. Look to dependency list, make review, and if you have more than 2 groups of packages, please review them too. Security is main reason, but deployment speed also important. Okay, I hope it's clear and I can move on. First, what I want to check on developer's machine is a Git branch name. I have find a ready-made solution, validate branch name package. It's very simple package. They just check if branch name allow specific regular expressions. This is important because it makes branch searching easy, minimize the number of mistakes, and simplify Git integration with your task manager. Also, this allows automatic generate correct merge request description, for example, adding a checkbox for reviewers. So, simple, install this package, select one of many allowed config files, insert pattern and error message. In my case, I want to see only feature, fix or hotfix directory with branches, / and some branch name. You can add rules whatever you want, like example number of tasks in task manager. It is makes sense to check only when we pushing branch to the server. Create what you want locally. So create repush file in Husky directory, add our command npx validate branch name and test. First create correct branch, feature git rules. And let's try make some wrong branch name and we see error messages. Also, if we go to GitLab, we cannot see this error branch. So this is done. Next, what I want to standard today is Git messages. Standards have the same benefits like branch name standard, but also simplify search in Git history. If it doesn't have specific rules, please use Commitlint config convention. This standard was developed by smart people with community feedback and he is very useful. So we go to Commitlint website, install Commitlint with conventional standards in dev, do not forget it, and create in a root directory commitlint config.js file, where we can simply export commitlint conventions roles. Here I should use a commit message hooks, so I create file in Husky directory and just push command from documentation. If you open config convention, you can see its simple rules. All commit message should start with specific type. It could be feature, build, fix, and etc. Colon and some subject of description. It's minimum rules. Let's test. I try to create correct commit with correct message and with some wrong message. As you can see, with correct all okay, all green, with wrong message all red and commit not created. And now we should talk about situation where something happens and you need left code and finish it, but you want to save it. For example, Iranian kamikaze drone is flying to you. Sorry, hard Ukrainian joke. So you have to go, but you don't want to lose a progress. And when you try to commit or push, Git Hooks say everything's wrong, do some changes, fix some codes, rename some branches, you have unsuccessful tests, and etc. In this situation, you need to use WIP commits, work in progress. Simply instruction here. Git commit -m, WIP, and some text if you want. This flag no verify. Git push with flag no verify. When you back to work, just cancel last commit, WIP commit, and push your branch when you finish it with -force option. And please feel free to make WIP commits all the time. No one in the team should not have such time to look at your WIP commits. And please, if you have a lot of time, do not look to others' WIP commits or WIP merge requests. Look on it only if owner ask you for this. And of course, if you DevOps, please stop checks on the server if commit is WIP. And of course, disallow merge to prod. Okay, now we can merge our code. And if you first time in GitLab, you can see a new checkbox for you. Call it squesh merge. Don't worry, it's very useful. What squesh commit does? Squesh commit consolidate all your commits, work into one commit. It's very useful when you made a lot of commits like fix code style, fix after review, and so on. So please use it if you need it. Next, pick questions in the developer roles. What we should use? Merge versus rebase. I will try to explain very simple. If you want more information, please go to the Google. So when we do simple merge, it's combine your branch with another's, leaving a huge history of merging branches and commits. It show who did what and when, commit by commit in the big timeline map. It's like a huge subway map, especially when many developers work parallel. But when you work solo, merging is not a problem. Rebasing, however, make it as if all commits happens sequentially, one after others, immediately in the branch, with no big branch history. The big problem of rebasing is conflicts. It's very easy to lose your code or code of your team when you have some merge conflicts. So please be careful with rebasing. But there are certain options and I recommend it try it. GitLab offers semi-linear merge out of the box. It structures the branch history so that all merges go into sequentially. It looks like one developer's work on this project. In this way, Git history is much easy to use. We have access to revert merge request and see the history feature by feature, commit by commit. One drawback here, the branch must match a target branch before merge. This is fixed by make merge or rebase. Of course, rebase recommended and make much more clear history. I'm going to try liner history for myself, but unfortunately, before I don't have a team, you cannot see any preferences. So go to GitLab, settings, merge requests, merge method, merge commit with semi-liners history. Okay, all done. And now we should put all standards and recommendation into README file. And remember, no one will never read documentation, except of setup steps. Everything else is in the blind spot. I'm going to create a separated video about documentation on frontend and on backend. But still, writing a README is mandatory for sending it to developers who have complaints like I didn't know, there is no documentation, or think that lead is a despot and make some rules because everything was perfect and his previous job and there was no linters, and why he loses his job nobody knows. Finally, a couple of recommendations that will boost developer skills. First of all, review yourself, even if there is someone who should review you. It seems easy and obvious, but no, self-review is very difficult. You have spent a lot of time working on tasks, writing tests, solving a lot of problems, and now you can finally create that fucking merge request. Your brain doesn't care about request. Brain has born already. It remember everything and it's all okay. But what's not okay, they will notice the main person on whom your career depends. The reviewer. Personally, no advice would help me more than self-review. And the last one, closely related to the first one. Do not use Git at all. And turn off adding files in your idea. This is also seems obvious, but from my experience of reviewer, developers commit everything. Unsuccessful files, some tests, examples, mocks, memes, and etc. and etc. And yes, I understood that it's easy to fix this. But first, the reviewer should spend his time, and the second, you should spend this time to fix it. Please review yourself. It is all for today. You can find a link to text version of this guide in the description. And remember, I don't ask your help, do not ask your likes and etc. Please support Ukraine. Do not believe Russian propaganda. Thank you.